drive to right field. This ball is gone. Gone and into the history books.
The Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez, the 2-2. He got it! 34 years, 119 games. It's finally happened. A perfect game by a Seattle Mariner. It was done by the King.
And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on and line down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my. And they are going crazy at the Kingdom.
Welcome to the Corner of Edgar and Dave, your Seattle Mariners baseball fan podcast. I am Jacob, here with my brother Nick, for another podcast on the Seattle Mariners, the baseball team from Seattle. They're playing right now against the A's, but they've had a pretty successful last couple weeks. I know that you're frustrated with them, Nick, after the Astros series, but you can't deny that they've been winning. They had themselves 10 games over 500. I think if they win tonight, they'll get back to 10 over 500, so...
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, the Blue Jays series was, really good baseball, so, you can't totally hate them on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact of the matter is they're taking advantage of the weaker schedule that they're facing now. I mean, they have a couple series against the Astros and the A's, but the reality is they had a lot of games against the Rangers. They have games, against the Kansas City Royals coming up. They're in a place where they can start to take advantage of the fact that their first half of the season was loaded pretty heavy with strong teams, and now it's just, aside from divisional opponents, they have a pretty light schedule against the rest of the league the rest of the way through. So this team, they have a legit opportunity. It's just they've got a lot of really good teams in front of them, but I think they're sitting pretty comfortably right now in that the first team out of the wild card, which would be a sucky place to end the year again, but at least we're in the mix, right? Did you think 4 months ago that we were going to be in the mix of this thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, and I don't want to sound like one of those, I don't want to say or pretend that I'm just one of those people that's oh yeah, I knew this was coming all along. But I do remember at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season last year that I was super optimistic and I was being just I think the Mariners are much better than everyone else is giving them credit for. I think their bats are a lot better and in a much better place than most of their teams and most of their baseball.
They definitely
media
have been
is giving
improving,
them credit for,
right? They definitely have been improving, especially after starting off the year. It's a 200 batting club.
Right.
They're not that anymore, right?
No, yeah, they're not. But so when you look at this lineup, when you look at this club, they're not a good 4 average team, but they are one of the better power hitting teams in the league, right?
And they're incredibly clutch.
Yes, 100%. So they're super clutch and they're a strong power hitting team. And this is without guys like Evan White and Kyle Lewis, who are your big power bats in the lineup, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to remember, they were adding Mitch Haniger from last year, and this team was already 2 games away from a playoff spot last year, right? I know it was the shortened 60-game season, but approaching a 500 record without your best player on your roster is a good sign going into a new year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, it is August the 23rd for us. It's been 2 weeks since we last podcasted. Let's start off how we usually start. Best thing you saw and worst thing you saw over the last 2 weeks, Nick. I want to hear from you first.
Man, I can't believe it's been 2 weeks since we last potted. I feel
I know, right? I know. I was surprised too.
That's flying, huh?
Yeah.
Best thing
Dog
I saw.
days.
Do you say best thing or best player I saw?
Best thing. Baseball, Mariners, player, whatever you want to see. Whatever you want to say. What was the best thing that you saw this week? And the worst thing you saw?
I don't know if I have one individual thing. I will say anytime Kelenic gets a hit, I'm like, woo, let's go Kelenic.
Yeah, I mean, he's... I can't... Let me see what his numbers are at now. But, I mean, for someone that came back who is batting just over 100.
100, yeah. So he's sitting at mid-game right now, 444. Or 144.
What? I was going to say.
444?
Okay, so he got really hot there for a little bit, had his average up to 150, which doesn't sound very hot, but that's where we're at right now. And he's come back down to earth a tiny bit, 144, you said. So, yeah I mean, you know what? Let's be generous. He's coming around. He's coming around, right?
He is coming around. I would say that's the best thing I've seen all week. I think the best thing I've seen all week is just the Mariners playing competitive baseball, especially against some of the better teams. I will say I was really frustrated over the last couple days when I didn't get to see this whole series, but I was looking at my phone and I would just be like, 1-10 Mariners, 2-15 Mariners. God damn, so when
the series against the Astros, at least the first two games, was definitely the worst thing that I saw this week, and I think it has a lot to do with the way you were saying it. It's not necessarily. I mean, it's not good to get blown out. It's not necessarily that they were blown out. It's that they were blown out so early in these games.
Yeah.
Like these games were over after 3 innings, and it's like
realistically,
it was sad.
Complete pitching malfunction or complete lack of focus or something from Logan Gilbert and Yusei Kikuchi, which are the two guys that you from this point in the season, they've been the workhorses and they've been the really stable guys, right? Mm-hmm. So to see them both give up 7 runs in 2 innings or whatever was just oh no, what a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the way the bullpen is going, they're still strong, but they haven't been that perfect bullpen that we saw in the first half of the year. And then if you start overworking them like that because your guys can't get out of early innings, that's just a big problem. I guess if I had to be more specific about the worst thing I saw this week, to me it was just those first 2 Astros games. They're just bad altogether in the way they did it. But if I was asked to be more specific, it's definitely been Yusei Kikuchi in the second half.
Oh my God!
Logan Gilbert. I expect Logan Gilbert to go through growing pains, right? He's gonna have stinkers. So he's had a few of them now over the last 2 weeks. 2 really bad games. I kind of just want him to be okay, you know what? It happens to a young guy. But someone like Yusei, who is our lone all-star, even though he didn't get to actually play in the game, to then come into the second half of the season, it's just so predictable at this point, right? It's almost I would rather just not send anyone to the All-Star game. Because if you're a Mariner that gets to go to the All-Star game, you're freaking cursed. I mean, look at it. The last 2 Mariners that we sent to the All-Star game, Daniel Vogelbach, gone.
Exploded.
And Yusei Kikuchi...
He literally hit 25 home runs before the break, and then 5 or 6 after the break. Oh no, Vogie!
Yeah, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, and now Kikuchi is just imploding in the second half equally. It's that all-star curse for the Mariners. I'd rather just next year, I'd just be we're good. Well, we're good. We don't need to send no one. We're good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where it's going to be next year. It's probably Atlanta. They'd probably go back to Atlanta, but I don't know.
I don't know. Is that something that they would do? I know they very purposely took it out of Atlanta.
Oh, no, I think next year it's going to LA because the Dodgers missed hosting because of COVID.
Oh,
so I want to say next year it's actually going to be in LA.
Okay, but that's weird though. You think they would have done the makeup let's just put it back in LA this year? Why did they put it in Coors?
I think that was definitely a consideration. Was just be but then they had already decided that they were going to make up LA in a year or 2, so it's we don't want to go to LA and then go back to LA.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you have such a great ballpark like Coors, and being in Denver, it's just cool location, I think. So
yeah,
I think you can just take advantage of that.
Speaking of Denver, I know this is super off topic, and it's a nod to my brain and how my brain works that this popped into my head. But I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I recently just reread all the Hunger Games books, and I just found out through my second reading, looking it up after the fact, right, that the capital in the Hunger Games is Denver.
Yeah, I had heard that theory. Is it confirmed or a theory, or regardless? I had heard that you can kind of match up the supposed layout of the sectors with America, and that the capital would be in Denver, Colorado area.
Well, I had
heard that before. Yeah,
I've always questioned where it was, and so I finally I finished the 3rd book and I was where are they? So I like looked at all the popular fan theories of like the maps of these regions and everything.
Yeah.
And the most commonly accepted one is that they're in Denver, with like the thing being the capital being surrounded by the Rockies or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my always first impression was that like it was LA. Like, if you're gonna have like a secondary makeshift capital like post apocalypse, like wouldn't you choose like LA or like someplace super populated, right?
I don't know. I follow the logic. Let's see. I'm trying to look where Seattle would be. What?
I think it was like District 2 or District 3 was Seattle.
I can't tell on these maps. They're a little too small for me to like read.
1 second.
Yeah, they do have the capital there. Let's see. They have District 7 is Seattle, and then it's like part of Washington, like the like Olympia, Tacoma, Mount area, and they have like in District 4.
Let me link you the image that I see so we can look at the same map. This is the one that I like considered the most popular one used.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, this does have... It's very different from what I'm looking at. They do kind of have District 7 in a similar place, but they have District 7... The one that I'm looking at has District 7 more as, like, combining District 7 and District 1, and District 1 is a lot smaller. So they're kind of like... Honestly, these two maps, though, are really similar. Interesting.
Yeah.
And kind of how they divvy it up. They just kind of split it a little different.
I just, like... So when I read the books the first time, I always just kind of imagined them going, like, in order. Like, so the capital was LA, and then going to the right, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah. What's the district that the main chick's supposed to be in, Katniss? 12. And then 13 is the biohazard one. 13 is the one they nuked, right?
Yeah, New York, Manhattan, with the Manhattan Project. That's why they had the nukes.
Well, I mean, that's just where they did the science to develop it. They didn't like actually fire off any nukes in that. Like all the nukes were tested in like New Mexico.
Right, no kidding. But like, so when you think about
believe me, I haven't thought much about it.
Oh, I have like Maine, New York.
Believe me, I haven't thought too much about it.
Okay, you know what? We're all being tracked by the CIA, right? Like you can just tell me what your theory is.
Okay.
They're not putting you on a watch list because we talk about nukes in the U.S.
Mr. Pfizer, if you're listening, my brother lives in.
They already know.
They just absolutely dox you.
Look, they have our social security cards. They know where we are. They know what we do.
Mr. Pfizer, you can find my brother. All right.
You want to go back to the show?
Yeah. Oh, and the best thing I saw, this is actually going to double up with my MVP. But my MVP is more of like how he played. But the best thing I saw was freaking Marco after that Rangers game where, what did he go, like 8 innings or something like that? Or did he pitch the whole game?
Yeah, it was a shutout.
Yeah, it was a complete game shutout. Complete game. Yeah. Was it a shutout?
No, it was.
It was like one run. Yeah, like one run. And like the emotions he had, like finally being able to come back, finally having that like marquee start of the season that he's been looking for, especially from someone like him who had all these other issues even outside of baseball and like struggled in the first half of the season to like put together the last 2 weeks that he's had. Like, spoiler alert, Marco's my MVP. I mean, we've established on this podcast that if I have a chance to like throw Marco an MVP, I'm just gonna do it.
You're gonna get some, yeah.
But I feel like he's like really earned it this one. He had an absolutely great moment.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the emotional leaders of this team. So like for him to, be in the game like that and be available to the rest of his teammates, especially after losing someone like, we've had our jokes about Kendall Graveman, right? But clearly he was like in a very emotional part of this team. Losing someone like him, if we can get Marco back to being in that place, to being that like solid leader, like that's going to be really important for us down this next like month or so, right? As the season winds down.
Yeah. You know what I think is worth mentioning too about that is that is the only complete game the Mariners have pitched all year. And
really?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's only game that a Mariners starting pitcher has made it into the 9th all year.
That sounds right. The thing is like, we've played a lot of really close ball games, and Scott's really led heavily on the bullpen, leaned heavily on the bullpen. So I would believe you. I'm not going to fact check you. I just believe you. I'm just going to trust you on this one. So to me, the best thing I saw was
fans. Go ahead and fact check me because I think I'm right.
Yeah. So the best I will say that for me, just to be more specific, the best thing I saw was Marco's interview after the game, the emotion that he had, and kind of the implications that has for the rest of his season, right?
Too?
What's that?
Do you see that interview with Scott Service where he started getting all teary-eyed talking about the team that he loves?
Well, and that was after they rallied to win in extras against the Rangers, right? Like they gave up
game 3 there.
Yeah, that game 3 they gave up 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th due to freaking Misowitz and Castillo, and then they kind of rally. I think didn't they have to fight off? Like they didn't score in the top of the 10th. I think they won in 11, right? They didn't score in the top of the 10th, and then they fought back and Paul Sewald, right? Was it Paul Sewald was able to hold them to no runs?
Paul Sewald.
Well, it's always Paul Sewald.
Yeah.
Paul Sewald is inevitable.
Yeah, well, I think you're right because I believe that's exactly what happened in that 3rd game against Houston too. Paul Sewald held in the 10th or whatever.
Yes, on the bases. Yeah, the bases loaded. Bases loaded, no outs. Noble Tiger.
I'm sorry. Give me a second. I'm smelling cat something really strong. I don't know if she just like threw a fit and pooped somewhere or something. Or if I'm just like
pet owner troubles. Pet owner troubles. So, anyways, I love the stat of the Noble Tiger. I need to look up what it actually stands for, but I know that it's kind of been making the rounds around Reddit, and it stands for no outs, bases loaded. No outs, bases loaded, ending with team incapable of getting an easy run. And it's named the Noble Tiger because it's something that a Tigers fan made up and that they always do. I just think that's a fun little stat. There's like cool things like that on the internet. People talk about like baseball's dying doesn't have the reach that that like NFL or NBA has, and that can't be true. When you have like passionate fans making up hilarious things like Noble Tiger, it's just like so good.
Are you talking to Gabby?
No, I'm talking to our podcast listeners.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I was soloing it. I was describing the origins. I was just describing the origins of the Noble Tiger.
Oh yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Noble Tiger. So it was created by a Detroit Tigers fan, and it stands for no outs, bases loaded, ending with team incapable of getting an easy run. And it's a stat that people throw around on Reddit, and it basically, as the name describes specifically, it's when you have no outs and the bases are loaded and you don't score. It means you Noble Tigered.
Are there Noble Mariners too? Because I feel like that happens to us as well, all the time.
It definitely happens to us, but we don't have the ingenuity among our fan base to name a stat after it.
Well, Noble Tiger is just an excellent name, so I figured he probably had that name for a long time, ready to go. And then he thought of something hilarious and was just like, yo, this will fucking stick.
Or he realized no outs, bases loaded. You've already got NOBL that leads to E, and then you just have to figure out the rest of it. But it works out perfect. Yeah, so I was explaining to our listeners what a Noble Tiger is and how Paul Sewald Noble Tigered the Astros, and it was beautiful.
In extras. Yeah. Super cool. Super, super cool. Yeah, love Paul Sewald for that. Super sleeper. Really good pitcher.
Yeah.
Cat poop. I think, so it's not because she
What'd she do?
She pooped in her poop spot in her little bin, right? But you haven't seen Baker. You haven't been over to my place since, I don't know if you've ever been to my place, actually.
No, I haven't.
But she's just a lazy fat cat, and so she'll just poop right in the front of the box and then not cover it up. So it just makes my entire apartment just smell, right?
Just creates a stinky. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's no good.
100% creates a stinky.
That's no good.
So I just I heard it and it was overwhelming. I was like, I cannot exist on this planet smelling this cat poop for much longer.
Yep, that would not be good. That would not be very good.
But we're back, ready to pod. We're ready to go.
We are. I mean, okay, so we can go into the news now. I really only have one piece of news. And we kind of mentioned him. We've thrown his name out there a couple times, and we've talked about him quite a bit over the last couple weeks because he was part of our trade deadline and, in theory, the future of our bullpen. Yep. But Diego Castillo, Nick's boy, he's really struggled since coming to the Mariners, right? And we did find out recently that he has gone on the 10-day disabled list with it's a shoulder injury, I believe.
Elbow inflation.
It's an elbow injury. Elbow inflammation. His elbow's inflamed. His elbow's on fire.
Yep. 100%
it's engulfed,
on fire.
Engulfed in flames. So that's never good. Can't really pitch when your arm is ablaze. And so he's gone to the disabled list to, try and I assume
trying to put his arm out.
Yeah, have the fire department address it, or what do you do about that? What do you do about an What do you do about an elbow that's on fire?
Okay, all jokes aside, I don't know. I don't know what you do about inflammation.
I guess
do you just take Advil?
No, I think that's it, right? Is that you just take a painkiller and let the inflammation die down. You ice it? Icy hot it?
I don't know. I genuinely, every time I see a player go on the injured list with inflammation, I'm like, what do you do about inflammation? I think that's just a bruise, isn't it?
I don't know. I assume you ice it. I assume you ice it.
Huh. All right. Cool.
Ice seems to be that magical thing that they just give to players.
Yeah, they just
and they're
put ice on the fire.
Yeah, they're like, I'm not sure what's wrong with you. Here's some ice. Just hold the ice there, see if that gets any better. Honestly,
2 or 3 days of the ice not working, they're like, all right, we're going to go to the specialist. And they're just like, yeah, you've got a super problem.
No joke, though. That's what our athletic training staff did to me. We were playing noon basketball, and my pinky got jammed really bad. And it really swole up, and I couldn't even move it. It was in so much pain. So they gave me a splint, and they were just like, oh yeah, just keep icing it for the next few days. And it really took I think eventually, I mean, it was never kind of settled on exactly what happened, but I think there may have been something slightly more serious than just a jam, because it took probably a month and a half to finally kind of heal all the way. So
yeah,
but yeah, they just gave me ice. They were just like, yep, ice. Huh. just wrap it, and put ice on it. That was it. So I think ice, that's just athletic trainers. That's their go-to. They're just
yeah,
ice.
I believe you 100%. I have no doubt that you're right.
Probably Tylenol too, I imagine. Because I feel when it's inflamed, does it swell up? Because I know for sure swells you put ice. So I'm assuming
I've relatively recently learned.
What's that?
So Advil is not a painkiller. Tylenol is a painkiller, but Advil reduces swelling and inflammation. So I think they literally just give them Advil and
I would
ice,
think so,
and
yeah.
just yo, get back in there.
So Advil doesn't technically kill the pain. I mean, it kills the pain in the sense that it removes whatever's causing the pain.
Right. Yeah.
But you're supposed to use both, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
So if you're in pain because of swelling, take Advil and Tylenol, not one or the other. If you're in pain, never just take Advil, right? Which I think is kind of funny because I feel growing up, our mom was like, "Oh, you're in pain? Go take some Advil."
I feel we always got Tylenol. I feel we were a Tylenol family.
Yeah. I feel we had both, and mom was always just like, "Yo, just take some Advil, whatever."
I mean, I don't know about you, but we're definitely just a store brand ibuprofen family now. At least we are. Gabby and I are. We're very much store brand. We have some Advil.
Yeah.
We actually bought. We bought a big thing of Tylenol because they said, I feel this must have just been a scam from Tylenol. And, to take this with a grain of salt, I don't want to be accused of spreading misinformation, but everyone was saying, when you get the COVID vaccine, when you get the shot, take Tylenol. Take Tylenol, right?
I have heard
how did Tylenol win that one? How did Tylenol become the official painkiller of COVID? What a killer move.
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think Tylenol did anything for that, and I'm pretty sure that was just the classic America Facebook doctor that's just yeah, just take some Tylenol with it, you'll feel better. And then people were like, oh, okay. And then
I know though, but
right?
I just want to know whether Tylenol had a hand in it, because if not, that's the luckiest thing that's ever happened to them. Could you imagine the Tylenol executives get the numbers for their month and they're just like, holy shit.
Okay. No, there's no way Tylenol gets the W there. They take an L every time. Because I don't know if you've ever seen an ad before, but American media corporations or marketing corporations or whatever are just not good at making ads. I feel like it's like 1 in 15 ads that are like funny or good or like make me go, yeah, I want that product. And the other ones are just like cringe, like, ew, no, I don't want your Advil.
You know who's really good at it though? Are the Mexican ads. Like, I don't know what it is, but like every time I watch a Mexican ad, I have no clue what they're saying because they're speaking in Spanish and I have no clue. I don't understand Spanish. But they're always like so happy and upbeat and full of energy that I feel like they have an energy that English ads lack. And I always want to buy whatever product. Like, it can literally just be like a normal commercial. Like it can be a normal like U.S. commercial that's just dubbed over in Spanish, and it's 1,000 times better because it has like the high energy and like the way they're saying it. They're like 25, 8, bayo, you know, whatever, right? And it's just like that's just such good energy. I love the energy that they bring to their ads, in at least in the Mexican ads.
You, but I feel like as far as this joke translating from me to you, right? You must have lived in Texas for longer than you think you did, because I don't know if you remember ads in Washington, but they're not in Spanish.
I know that.
A Texas thing.
No, I know. I live right on the border. No, I know this.
Do not. No. But what I'm saying is, I have no recollection of ever seeing an ad in Spanish without like putting on the Spanish subtitles.
That's why I described it. That's why I perfectly described it to you. I knew that you hadn't seen them. You know what I get? I get them all the time on YouTube. I thought it
was one of those things where you were trying to be like, hey, remember those ads in Spanish? And I'm like, no, I don't.
No, I was describing them to you. But I will say, like, here on the border, like, if you're watching YouTube, like, 50-50 ads in Spanish or not.
That's cool. Well, maybe those 4 or 5 years of Spanish or whatever you took are going to work out for you now that you're living in Texas.
No, not at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Hola.
Me neither.
I got hola.
Donde está la biblioteca?
Yeah, believe it or not, that one hasn't come up yet.
Okay, but I'm sure you've probably used Donde está la baño. Or is it El Baño? Nope. I think it's La Baño. Baño.
It's El Baño.
Oh, well.
Because it ends in an O, so it's L.
So it's a masculine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
It's L.
All right.
Yep, that's a Spanish lesson for the pod.
Cool. Yeah, you want to talk about baseball?
Yeah, Diego Castillo. I believe. So, are you suspicious about the actual diagnosis of his injury? Or do you think he's just hurt with the case of the suckies?
I think somebody in the Mariners clubhouse after that game
it was just like, this guy needs a break.
Maybe you should go on vacation. Maybe you should take a week off.
Yeah, it's like, just take a few days. He like comes into the clubhouse the next day.
Like,
his scan card doesn't work going into the clubhouse, and he's like, that's weird. He like texts Jerry DePoto, and he's like, didn't anyone tell you? Did anyone tell you you were injured? You didn't notice, Diego? He's like, no, Jerry, I feel great. I'm ready to go today. You know, I had a rough outing last game, but I'm ready to go.
I mean, I don't have the actual numbers on this, but I'm pretty certain we're somewhere around the point where Diego has appeared in 7, 8, or maybe even 9 appearances, and he has about 4 or 5 blown saves with the Mariners.
I don't think the numbers were that bad, because I had seen it at least before the Rangers series. I had seen it, and his numbers were somewhat comparable to Graveman. I had seen like a tweet or something that had compared them. This was obviously before the most recent Rangers series, but
I know matter-of-factly that I have seen Diego blow at least 4 saves.
Oh, do you know? You've been keeping the book?
I've been keeping the book.
You've been sitting there keeping the book, huh?
I've had a grudging, you could say.
You were hyped about the Diego trade.
I am. I still am. But for whatever reason, like with the Mariners right now, he just can't. You know what it is? You know what I've actually put a lot of thought into this Diego Castillo thing. And pitchers from the Rays get worse when they leave Tampa Bay. And I think a lot of it might be that ballpark plays unlike any other ballpark in all of baseball. One, it has that turf. 2, it has that crazy roof that is hard to play off of if you're an outfielder.
If anything though, that should hurt a pitcher, right? Because, well, first off, if things happen, like it makes it harder to field because of the roof, because of the dome.
The home team, because they practice in that ballpark.
Oh, so their players.
So their players.
Got it. So their players are adept at playing.
Yes.
With the difficulty of the dome, which we actually 100%. Saw Jared Kelenic struggle with. This
is exactly when I thought about it when I was.
And the field, obviously, ground balls on the turf play faster than they do on natural grass.
Exactly.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
So maybe Diego Castillo has tricked everyone, and he actually kind of blows nuts.
I will say this. Here's one thing that I saw.
It's like reverse Coors, I'm gonna say.
Here's one thing that I saw. Is I saw that there was a scout who had his report on Diego Castillo, and it basically said that like his slider is a wipeout slider. However, about 1 in 6 of them are absolute cement mixers, just waiting to be destroyed.
Now, I did see that tweet as well.
However, what this tells me though is that he has a good slider, and if there's any team that's been proficient about fixing small errors in pitchers,
the Mariners.
It's the Seattle Mariners. About taking a guy who has good stuff, but just needs the analytics to fix his mindset or just a little tweak in the mechanics. Like the Mariners are very good at fixing, especially relief pitchers.
That's exactly what they did with Graveman, right?
Yeah, and so I think, and a lot of players, I remember Austin Adams, Brendan Brennan, like they've done a lot of things with a lot of these relief pitchers. But they fixed a few things in their mechanics. They fixed a few things in their pitch selection, and it really has helped them out. So I'm excited to see when they have an off season to work with him, how they help Diego Castillo out of his like slight problem. Because obviously he's got the stuff. Like obviously his stuff is nasty.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I am not gonna insult someone for this, and I'm not trying to say this as a big problem, but so I know that I did also see, I don't know if this was a tweet or if this was like some sort of article or something, but somewhere the Rays were talking about wanting to trade away Diego Castillo because of 2 reasons. One, he was playing with a lot of fatigue throughout various seasons.
It makes sense, especially being on a team that made the World Series.
Yeah, so he was playing with a lot of fatigue because he was like slightly out of shape. Like, I don't know how much you've looked at Diego Castillo, but he's like a larger dude. Like, I'm not going to say he's out of shape. He's obviously a professional baseball player.
He's a chunky monkey.
But one of the big things for coming out of Tampa was that, like, he was not in the greatest conditioning out of his life, and he would struggle with fatigue, right? So maybe, and Scott Servais does really lean on his bullpen arms, right?
So you're saying maybe he is actually injured?
Yeah, maybe he's just overworked. I don't know. Who knows?
That would make a lot of sense.
There's a couple different theories to think of. Maybe it's the ballparks. Maybe he is overworked. Maybe it's this inflammation. Maybe
we'll see. So he is out for. Let me do the math on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more. No. 1, 2, 3. 6 more days after today. He's out for 6 more days after today. So we'll see.
Man, you know what you just made me think of?
No.
So I manage a movie theater. I work at a movie theater. One of the cast members, one of my team members, got sent home, or not sent home, but he called in, and I'm going to keep this guy nameless because obviously I'm not allowed to release this kind of information, but he went home, or he had to call out for work because he was like, hey, one of my buddies got COVID. I don't have it. I tested negative.
Uh-huh.
But I hung out with him in the last 48 hours of his positive test. So what do you want me to do? And I'm like, you're going on the 10-day IL. You can't come to work for 10 days.
Nice.
Because that's my company policy. Like if someone is too close to someone who tested positive, they have to be out for 10 days.
Wait, did you put him on the 10-day IL retroactive? 1 day?
Put him on the retroactive 10-day IL.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. That's a skillful move from a manager. Only the best managers know to pull the retroactive IL usage.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that's professional. That's a professional
That's top
move.
marks. Honestly, I might deserve a promotion after that one.
Yeah, that's a professional. That's an absolutely professional move. I love it.
Not to toot my own horn here.
That's pretty good. Only the best managers know to pull out the retroactive IL date. All right. Anything else on Castillo?
No, we've been talking about him for a while. I don't really have more to add.
All right. Any other news you want to talk about?
Skull Wicked Slider, mate.
Skull Wicked. Is that how the Vikings said it? Dude, that's a pretty good Australian accent.
Thank you.
Absolutely credit to you.
I've been trying to. I really like the word wicked. I've been actually trying to work it into a couple conversations. This might be the first time I've made it work, but I like it. I like wicked.
My boss the other day was talking to us about something, and he tried to do a Boston accent. It was bad. Whatever point he was trying to make was entirely lost because he absolutely needed to take that Boston accent back to the shop. I can't even remember what we were talking about now at the time. I just remember how terrible the accent was, and I was just like, dude, take that one back. Like, that one needs to go back.
I can do a pretty decent Australian accent, right? I think it's for two reasons. One, I have been watching the Hyphen for a couple of years now, probably at least like 5 to 10 years. However long it's been on the broadcast, I've been watching the whole time, right?
Okay.
And two, one of my buddies, I think you've talked to him before, he's British. And so I hear his British accent all the time, and whenever I try to imitate him, he always tells me it's way too Australian. So whenever I try to do a British accent, I kill an Australian accent.
It just comes out Australian. So you were actually aiming for British then. But that makes sense. The thing is that's how pitchers operate too, though, right? It's like if you know you have a lot of break on your wicked slider, then you aim for the center of the plate, and you just know it's gonna break off for you, right? Like if your slider just breaks like 3 feet to the left of where you think it's going, you just aim for the center of the plate, and all of a sudden you guys swing out a ball off the plate.
You just unlocked the joke in my head. So you play the show. I know you play the show.
Yeah.
Occasionally, so we were talking about the Diego Castillo 1-6 breaking balls is just fucking right down the middle. It's like a hanger, right?
Yeah.
Just like the show. He's been playing way too much of the show. What he needs to do is stop playing the show, and the show off-speed curse will stop happening. You try to throw that ball like way off the plate, 1-6 times, the game just throws it down the middle.
That's true.
And Diego's just trying to imitate the show because maybe he just loves playing the show. Maybe that's
true. He
why
probably does. It's a great video game.
Good. Because he's playing video games.
Yeah, it all adds up. Illuminati. It's all coming together.
I don't know if that's one of those Illuminati things, as much as it might just be like, yeah, that's common sense. I think that works.
It's all coming together. It was an inside job. Bush did 9/11. It's all coming together.
He plays a lot of the show, and he's just trying to play like the show character. So every 1-6 times he throws the slider, it's just down the middle with no movement.
Have you ever done this? Tell me if you've ever done this in the show. So there's been times where like I have a pitcher who is on, like I have like a 3 or 4 run lead, but I have a starting pitcher who is still throwing a shutout, but he's ran out of energy.
Yeah.
What I start doing at that point is I only choose off-speed pitches, and I intentionally aim them down the middle of the plate, except for I try and have my accuracy be as bad as possible.
So it's always outside, and it's always right outside. That's a good strat.
But it's not even but sometimes they'll throw strikes too. Like I just aim, because the thing is the only place I don't want the ball to go is down the middle of the plate. So I aim down the middle of the plate and mess up my accuracy. So that's the only place the ball can't go is down the middle of the plate. It's freaking genius. Have you ever done that before?
No, and I will say a lot of if there's any of the show players listening to us, they know we're noobs now. Because I play on zone pitching, and I know you do too. Oh man, I think he just hit a bomb. Wow, he did just hit a bomb.
I play on Pulse.
Oh yeah, that's what I play on too. That's what I'm trying to say. So me and
does that make us a noob?
We're noobs who play on Pulse.
Dude, Pulse is life. What does everyone else play on?
So Pulse is life.
Oh, top of the ninth. We just hit a top of the ninth game tying home run.
Yeah, we sure did. It's
hot shit. Too. Ty France, dude.
People of France. Yeah.
Hot shit, man.
But so most people play on the, I don't know what it's called. It's called perfect pitching. It's called dynamic pitching or something.
Is it the meter pitching?
No. It's the one they just implemented for the new game.
Never seen it before.
So basically,
what do you do? How does it function?
You select a pitch, you pinpoint where you want it to go, and then you basically paint the motion of the pitch. And if you paint it
with
correctly,
the right stick,
with one of the sticks, right? I don't know which one. I don't play on it. But so you paint the movement of the pitch, and based off of how well you do it, that pitch will go exactly where you want it to be. So if you throw a perfect pitch, 100% on the line, it will guarantee that your ball will go into that spot. But if it's off by 5%, it wiggles by 5% or whatever, right?
That seems overly complicated.
Yeah, it's really complicated.
There's no reason to make the game that difficult.
I agree. That's why I don't play on it. Just fucking put the ball down the middle and the thing goes woo, 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 and then I go woo.
Yeah, you just time that shit up. Big circle bad, small circle good. Unless you're going for my no energy strategy, then big circle bad or good.
Yeah, big mode. You go big mode sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Okay, I mean, people can play however they want to play. That just seems.
Yeah, of course.
You're just taking a very enjoyable, relaxing thing and making it overly complicated.
Really hard? Yeah, well, that's what video games are, right? You ever played League before?
I mean, there's a reason I don't play League anymore.
It's a really simple game that people have made way overcomplicated. Ooh, that's a call out.
Have you seen any Pokemon Unite yet?
My roommate's been playing it. That's not my kind of game, though. Not my kind of game.
It's literally a MOBA.
I mean, yeah, right. Okay, well,
it's literally your kind of game.
Okay, it literally is my kind of game. And you know this, of course. But I like Pokemon. Oh, man, I think Fraley just hit a bomb. Oh, that's a triple.
Okay.
Oh, mine. He's going to hold up a third. What are you doing, Toro?
Trip.
Sorry.
Trip.
Okay, sorry. What was I saying? So you know I like Pokemon. You know I'm a Pokemon fan. We've played Pokemon growing up as kids, right?
See?
But what pisses me off about Pokemon is that it's the highest grossing franchise of all time, and their games look like they should have come out 10 years ago. And I feel like they produce low-effort content every year, and it just makes me mad. So anytime I see new Pokemon content, I'm like, does that look like it's a 2021 game? No? I'm mad. So the Pokemon MOBA makes me mad.
Two things.
Uh-oh.
First off, don't be a little graphic slut.
I'm not being a graphic slut, bro.
Here's the thing: the gameplay is A+. The reality is that if you're just looking at the game, like Pokemon, the video game, it's one of the most intricate battle systems.
No,
so many possibilities.
No,
it's awesome. There's they've mastered that aspect of it.
No, they haven't mastered it, dude. That you're talking like a turn-based strategy game pleb, because there are hundreds of other turn-based strategy games that have come out. Just do what Pokemon do, but better. But because Pokemon did it back in 1996, they think they perfected it.
Name one.
You haven't played Darkest Dungeon?
Pokemon's a better competitive. Darkest Dungeon doesn't even have a competitive aspect to it.
Yeah, it does. It has the circus multiplayer thing. You can verse each other in Darkest Dungeon now. You didn't know that? It's been out for years.
I didn't know that. Anyways, not the point. Second, all the effort that they don't put into the graphics of the video games, 100% goes into the card art, and it makes it totally worth it. Pokemon card art is absolutely fire.
Whoa. Pokemon card game is fucking awesome. I'm not gonna shit on Pokemon card game, but the Pokemon video games, man, low effort content.
No, but I'm talking about, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying all the effort that they direct away from the graphics in the video games, they put into the card art.
No, but those are completely different teams.
That's too much logic. That's too much logic for this.
You're choking yourself if you think that the people who make Pokemon video games also do the card art and design all the cards. That's certainly two different teams.
You're implying entirely too much logic to this.
I am, because I think about it a lot on why I hate Pokemon games.
We're overthinking a children's video game.
Okay, but does it have to be a children's video game, man? Come on, it's been out for 20 years. Like, the game can grow up with us, right?
They make a lot of money.
Well, maybe it would have if they had...
They make a lot more money selling to children than trying to pander, than trying to, like, satisfy...
Yeah, but they get both! Jake, they're the highest grossing franchise of all time!
I don't know if that's
pander
true.
to your children audience.
They're the highest grossing franchise of all time? More than Mario? I'm not convinced that they're higher grossing than Mario.
Look it up. Pokemon is the highest grossing franchise of all time. You want to know what's number 2? Mario. Actually, I think it's Dragon Ball Z, and then it's Mario.
Highest grossing video game franchises. Let's see here. Wikipedia. It literally says Mario's number 1.
No. That's just wrong.
It says Pokemon is number 5. Best-selling video game franchises. Mario has sold 758 million copies, and Pokemon has sold 380 million. It's not even close. It's an absolute blowout. Call of Duty is at 400 million.
Okay.
Tetris is almost at 500 million. It's not even close.
All right. Okay, you're right. But look at these fucking giants they're competing with right now. Tell me a Mario game isn't as polished as a Pokemon game. Tell me you think Pokemon games are sorry. Let's say this. Is a Pokemon game more polished than a Mario game?
Graphically, they're literally the same.
No, they're not! What?
We're getting really off track here.
Pokemon was using sprite animation until like 5 years ago. Come on.
Well, it's because they weren't on console until this most recent generation.
Why not?
I don't know, because they make more money on handheld. Like, handhelds, from Nintendo's perspective, like, especially during the Wii and the Wii U era, like, handheld dominated.
Okay, but, like, we're talking about Switch-era Pokemon games now in 2021. So
yeah,
the
which is still a handheld.
Is a console, but it is a console. Like, a Switch is a console.
Yes.
So now they're making games on a console, and the games still look like they look like they did on handheld.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
That's just not true. So you're telling me Sword and Shield looks the same as Sun and Moon?
Yeah.
That's just wrong. That's absolute hyperbole.
Bro, come on. Pokemon games are ugly fart games.
I think they're absolutely adequate. They're perfectly fine.
Dude.
The focus is on the battle system.
You're just gonna... No, but the battle system hasn't changed in 20 years!
That's also just not true. They literally have added types in the last 20 years. They've added new Pokemon, they've added new moves. Like, how can you say that that's just not true?
Jay.
It's just... Like, they literally added Fairy type, like, 6 years ago.
That's ridiculous, dude.
Like, how can you say the battle system's the same?
Okay, but, like, compare that to League of Legends,
the mechanics of it are ever changing.
It's not. So, like, if they added a new summoner spell in League, that's basically the same thing as a new typing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely changing, especially if that's relevant. The thing is that the typing they added is one of the most relevant typings.
Bro, don't even. So
you're telling me that when League of Legends adds a new champion, it doesn't change the game at all? Checkmate, atheists. There we go.
Honestly, no. Because, like...
Dude, you're crazy.
Just because they completely break the balance on a champion doesn't mean that it changes the game.
It doesn't change the way that you have to play the game. It doesn't change the way you have to play the game. When all of a sudden Zoe is put in the game, it didn't change the way that you have to play the game.
She's just a poke champion with CC. Have you never seen it? Have you ever heard that's a poke champion with CC? Just because they cast their spells a little different doesn't mean they're like a... So if you add a completely new archetype of character, then you change the game. But if you just create the same character in a different format, like, you didn't change anything.
So when they added a character like Jace, it didn't change the game then? That's a completely new archetype. Someone that can switch between bruiser and ranged?
Nidalee was already in the game.
What?
Nidalee was already in the game. Elise was already in the game at that point, too.
Except Nidalee's a caster.
No, she's not. You can
This
play.
Is not the point. This is not the point. This is not the point.
Wait,
this is not the point.
We're a baseball podcast, aren't we?
Yeah, we're a little light on Mariners talk today. They're easily distracted. We just don't have much to say. Okay, so let's get into it. No more news.
Oh no!
What happened? I saw that Jared Kelenic struck out.
Okay, the Mariners were on 3rd and 2nd with no outs, and now they're on 3rd and 2nd with 2 outs.
That's a near noble tiger, is what we're looking at here.
It's a near noble tiger.
A near noble tiger.
Mariner.
It is, yeah. First, second and third, no outs. Jared Kelenic strikes out. Cal Raleigh strikes out.
Bad. And now we bring up our number 9 hitter, Jake Bauers.
Should have said Toro.
Who's like low key been super disappointing since coming to the Mariners.
I mean, he started off hot. He just hasn't maintained it.
He had like a good week when he first came over, and now he's just like
a good month.
A number 9 hole hitter. Like we could trade him away, and I wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, he had a good month.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Here's the thing. He filled a gap. He filled a gap when we needed it. When like Ty France was gone, it was like he filled a gap when we needed it. I respect Jake Bauers.
I mean, he's a professional baseball player, and I respect him for that. But like,
okay, so.
Oh man, they just did a close up of his face while he like is looking for the ball, and he does like a chipmunk face. Maybe I do like Jake Bauers a little more than I thought I did.
How many? I think are we done? We're done against the Rangers for the rest of the season. So I think this is one team. This is one team that I think we can talk about.
The Rangers?
Yes.
Because
we've finished our season series against them. What is your overall opinion of how we played the Rangers this year? Because honestly, so just for context, the only series that we won against them, I think, were the last 2 that we played.
Just the last one. Oh, Mariners take the lead. Okay.
No, because we won both the last 2.
No, we didn't. We went 1-2 against them. The series
oh shit!
before.
I put the wrong thing. Yeah, we did go 1-2 against them.
Against New York. You don't remember how frustrating that was?
Wait. Let me see here. No. We went 2 from August 10th to 12th. We won 2-1 against them, and then we faced the Blue Jays, and then the series after that we went to Texas and we won the first 2, we swept them.
No. August.
No, dude, okay. I'm looking at it right here, Nick. I'm looking at it right here.
Look at July. Look at July 30th through August 1st.
Nick, I know this. The last 2 series that we played against them, we won. That's what I was trying to say. We played them from August 10th to 12th, and we won 2 out of 3. And then we swept them.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see this middle series. I thought this August 1st series was the previous one before this.
No, yes. So the July 31st to August 1st, we only won 1 out of 2. And we go back.
You know what's memorable about those?
We did win another one. We won 2 out of 3 at the beginning of July. We won 2 out of 3 against them.
But you know what's memorable about the mid-August series against Texas is that like we shouldn't be beating Texas by 1 run.
Okay, we swept them up here too. We swept them back in May.
So far we should be sweeping them. You know this is a
we lost
win rate ball club, right?
Yeah. Okay, we lost the series at the beginning of May. Was that the first time we played them? It was. So we actually, you know what it is I think we lost that first series, and it kind of like framed my opinion of how we played against the Rangers. We actually we swept them 2 times. We only lost the series to them twice. We actually didn't do that bad against the Rangers. My perception of it was way worse than it actually was.
Looking back on it, you're right. But I just think I'm so skewed by the fact that we really needed to win 2 or 3 of the game going into New York against that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they only won 1, and then the other 2 they lost them. We got walked off twice in a row. It's so frustrating. The Mariners shouldn't be playing 1-run ball against Texas. Texas is terrible, and realistically, they are one of the worst offensive ball clubs of all of professional baseball, right?
Yeah.
So how the fuck can we barely outscore them? This is a Mariners ball club that can hit home runs, and they're playing in Texas, right?
I will say this too, and here's what I think of is that we split a lot of series against them. We swept them twice, we lost to them twice, and then we won a few of them. We won the remaining ones 2-1, all those series. And here's what I think actually is that is slightly disappointing is that teams think about like what the Houston Astros have done to the Mariners the last like 3 or 4 years, right? Like they've dominated us. Like that's I think the thing that feels different about what we need to do at least like in the upcoming years against teams like the Rangers that we play so many times is that we need to dominate them like Houston dominated us because those are free wins. Like that's the difference.
Like it's not even over. Like it's still like all year this year where we've had a really good lineup and they still dominate us all year, man. Like every single time we face Houston, we get fucking bombshelled in at least one of the games.
Yes, and so to me, if we're gonna be like a team that takes that next step, like the thing that's gonna get us into the playoffs, if you look at what Houston does, they destroy bad teams. If you look at like what the White Sox have done this year, like I don't know how good the White Sox are because they play against terrible teams the whole year, but to their credit, they've dominated those teams, right? So I think one thing that I want to look for when we play the Rangers next year is I want to see us go like 15-3 against them or something like that, right? Like I want to see us absolutely dominate them.
You have to. Because if you're going to win the AL West right now, you have to be beating the Rangers almost every time you play them because the Rangers are a ball club with no direction. Are they rebuilding? Maybe after this year officially, but over the last like 2 or 3 seasons, it's a ball club with no direction and no future. Right?
Yeah. You can't go like 12-8 against them or like 13-7. Like you have to like dominate them. You have to like those are free wins. Those are easy wins that you should just be like going out and getting. And that's what like that's a reason that Houston has had so many of these times where they've won 100 games in a season is because they dominated the Mariners for 20 games a year. They dominated the Rangers for 20 games a year. Like that's what the Mariners need to start doing is like you can't like have these ones where you just barely eke out a series win against the Rangers. Like here's the thing, series wins are good. Series wins get you to the promised land, but at some point you just need to start like dominating the really bad teams. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Mariners do that through the rest of the season because they play so many series against really bad teams. I mean, they still have series against Kansas City, Arizona, which we're going to. They play Arizona twice. They play the Red Sox, who are really skidding. They play the Royals again. They have 4 games against the Athletics. They have 3 more against the Athletics after that, and then they have 2 series against the Angels. Like, literally, we only play a couple good teams through the remainder of the year, and we have a lot of cupcakes on here. 2 series against the Royals and 2 series against the Diamondbacks. Those are last-place teams.
I want to see 1 against the Diamondbacks.
We go to Arizona, and I'm going to be at that series September 3rd through 5th.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And then we host them at home the 10th through the 12th of September.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that's at least 12 games that we should win 10 of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure,
if the Mariners don't win, I'm going to say 10 of those 12 games, I'm going to be disappointed. And you should be. Like, realistically, like, if the Dodgers don't beat the Mariners, the Dodgers fans should be pissed, right?
This will be a nice win here. Paul Sewald's coming in for the close. This would be a nice game to steal here, being down in the top of the 9th inning.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure we just need to beat Oakland every time we play them. And if we don't, like, you got to be really disappointed in the team, right? Like,
yeah, because they're a team we have to jump them, right? Like realistically,
yeah, we have to race them, right?
Yeah, realistically, we're probably not gonna be able to jump the Yankees. Plus, we don't have as many games against them. Like looking at our schedule here, let me do the calculation real quick. We have this 2-game series, so that's 2 games, plus 4, that's 6, plus 3, that's 9. We have 9 games against the Athletics through the remainder of the season. Like, if we can go, 6-3 and take 3 games on top of them in those 9 games, like, that would be freaking huge. I think that's something they need to aim for. And
monumental.
Obviously, if Paul Sewald can close it out here, that would be the best thing for us.
And it's possible, too, considering, Oakland has been faltering recently, and if you look at the struggles of their team, some of their superstar players have just not been playing like superstars lately. Obviously, Chapman picked it back up against us this game. Obviously, they have Starling Marte, who's been playing out of his mind all season. But, Matt Chapman on the third baseman is, super struggled. And they don't have Laureano, their former center fielder, because he's out for the season because of
PEDs?
Yeah, PEDs. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. What we're looking at right now, we're 3 games behind Oakland and 3.5 behind Boston.
And I think Kyle's
for the second wild card. And I think we play 4 against Boston still, so we have them in our sights. That would be huge if we could sweep them or take three of
I
lost my schedule.
But I
Here
would
we go.
Totally happy if we just
no, we only have 3 against the Red Sox. We should try and sweep them.
Oh, is that a 3-game series?
Yeah. Ideally, I think one goal would be is that we attempt to sweep them. That would
if we take 2 against Boston, I'll be fucking thrilled.
Oh, all right. I think we need to wrap it up and do our MVPs. I feel like both of us is really quick for this. For me, it's Marco. Partially because I feel like you're gonna give Ty the MVP. So like I said, we've said it before. Like if I can give Marco a MVP, like I'm gonna do it. So Marco, he's been an absolute stud. I think he pitched today, right? And he gave up 3 runs.
Yes, 3 and 6.
Yeah, and previous to today's game, he had only given up, I think, 1 run over his last 2 starts. Over his last 14.1 innings, he'd only given up 1 run, and it was a homer. It was a solo homer. So Marco's been an absolute beast the last 2 weeks, and he obviously kicked it off today. I mean, he's not going to get the win today, but he kept the Mariners in the game today, only giving up 3 runs. So he'll have given up 4 runs over... He went, 6 innings or 7 innings today? So over 20 innings, 4 runs. That's pretty fantastic.
I agree with you. That's a really good pick for MVP if you didn't pick it. And I know I always want to give you the Marco pick whenever you can. I think it's worth noting that for baseball is one of those sports that's really results oriented when people judge or be critical of certain players and teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Marco, he earned his wins. He actually performed not just results orientedly, I'm gonna say, but I think when you look and when you really watch what's going on, he just beat a bunch of dudes against Texas, and he's
really pitching hard
today.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's out there fighting and scrapping, and the thing is that's what Marco's done. That's what he's built his career on. It's not being an overpowering pitcher. It's being the best baseball player out on the field, right, and just scrapping for everything. So that's my pick. Anything else you want to say? I'm assuming Ty France is your pick?
Yeah, that being said, I'm picking Ty France because I love Ty France. Viva la France.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been really clutch.
You know what? You know what I think's worth saying? In my head, I've been calling him the Frenchman. And I feel like he would hate that, and I know he's not French. So.
No, he is certainly not French. However, literally the Mariners, whenever he does something on social media, they literally just post French flags like a crazy person. So it would be reasonable for any casual fan to be like, wait, he's not French? They do is they're all Viva, Viva, and they post French flags. Literally, any normal person would be like, oh yeah, the dude's French.
Yeah.
Let's see. He's up to 292 on the season. I want to see the last 15 days. Oh, he's hitting 426 the last 15 days.
Yeah, he's on
fire. With a 1.196 OPS.
He's scorching fucking hot.
Has he won a Player of the Week? He's got to be in line for a Player of the Week.
No, you know what?
What's the last 7 days? The last 7 days, 417. He's hitting 417.
Because they just released Player of the Week, and they gave it to Luke fucking Voigt.
It's messed up.
How hard do you have to dig to give it to a fucking popular franchise player like Luke Voigt? Come on. I feel almost every single week you're giving it to Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, or a Yankees player or a Boston player.
I just mean he played in 6 games last week. He had 10 hits, 7 RBIs, batted .417 with an OPS of 1.256. You're telling me he's not the MLB Player of the Week or the AL Player of the Week?
Yeah.
That's whack, man.
Scam. They gave it to Luke Voigt.
That's absolutely whack. All right, well, that's pretty much everything we have. Hopefully, let's see. What are we looking at here before we wrap up? The Mariners. Line out, ground out. So Paul Sewald just needs to get one more out, and the Mariners will win this game. So let's end the podcast here. Let's see how Seawald does, and just finish it off with the Go M's.
Go M's.
There's a drive, deep right field, say goodbye. Hey, Lloyd, do some delivery for the truck to the airport.